What is going on, guys? My name's Jason Morris. Yes, today we're actually going to be talking about this thing right here. This is the Feiyu-Tech G6 Plus, but we're not also just going to focus on the gimbal here. We're actually going to focus on filmmaking minimalism. Now, minimalism with filmmaking or content creation essentially is just having really light gear, or pretty much gear that's not too bulky, especially if you are a YouTuber, content creator, filmmaker, whatever you are in terms of video content creation. You don't necessarily want to be logging around heavy gear all the time. So having really light, compact gear will definitely be handy for the individual. Now, when it comes to video filmmaking, having a gimbal, having a camera, a few lenses, audio equipment, lighting, it all starts to add up. And if you get some really nice, compact, small form factor gear, this is going to help you in the long run. So you're not logging around, 2 or 3 different bags to a certain set. But we're going to put this video into more of a practical sense. I did do a video shoot at a cafe or a restaurant, which was a Vietnamese restaurant. They do predominantly soups called Feiyu, or yeah, I'll let that one sink in for a bit. So essentially this restaurant allowed me to do a little bit of filmmaking in there. They wanted me to create a bit of an intro for their YouTube video. So one of the main pieces of filmmaking gear that I took was the Feiyu-Tech G6 Plus. Now, it was paired up with the A6300, and I did have the 30mm 1.4 on there by Sigma, but I also used the 10-18 f4. So one of the tips that I want to tell you in terms of minimalist filmmaking is steady footage. Now, the gimbal will give you obviously very steady footage in comparison to handheld footage. When it comes to professional looking footage, you want it as stable as physically possible, depending on obviously what the client wants. But essentially most professional footage is using a Steadicam, Flycam, or a gimbal of some sorts. Now, one of the biggest things that I did need in this video shoot was to have the gimbal in sport mode. Now, sport mode allowed me to move really fast with some of these movements, because you would have noticed the up and down movements that I would have had to track one of the objects that he was throwing up in the air, and also a couple of pans. So all you need to do is hold this trigger and you've got sport mode. So that makes it extremely fast when you're trying to track something. That definitely helps in comparison to the normal speed. It is so much faster and responsive. It definitely does help when you have relatively light gear. So if you've got a light lens, light camera, because it is a very small payload on this gimbal, you can't necessarily have your full frame camera on there, unfortunately. But that is a good thing about having an APS-C camera, is that small form factor in these situations. Optimally, I would have loved to have used my A7 III. I mean, I could have used the A7 III. I still definitely did have space for that, and my Juin crane. Shout out to Potato Jet for saying Juin.
If you didn't get the memo, that is how you pronounce it. Juin, like you win.
Now, one of the things that also helped with creating a nice smooth movement was some of the transitions. Now, all these transitions were essentially created in camera. So they were in-camera transitions. I do have a link up here for my in-camera transitions that I had done previously. I will make an updated version. Some of you guys have been asking for a Osmo Pocket version of the transitions, but in-camera transitions are really important to create, will keep the sort of the story flowing. One of the main transitions I used was your typical swipe right, or swipe from down and swipe down again. So that tilt and pan are my typical sort of transitions. There's a lot of transitions that you do see on YouTube as well. One of the main transitions I also used, if you did catch it, is match cut. So I did 2 different match cuts. So when he threw the fat or margarine, butter, whatever it was, up into the air, when he caught it, it transitioned into an onion. Now you've just got to make sure that you keep that object in the same part of your frame as best as possible. And in post, if you are shooting 4K, you're able to shift that frame around a little bit. Now I didn't shoot in 4K because Sony don't offer anything above 4K 30. I had to shoot in 1080 at 100 frames. So that allowed me to do a lot of speed ramping, slowing things down and speeding things up. So these transitions are really, really handy to use, but definitely use them sparingly. So this was more about the practical application of the Feiyu-Tech G6 Plus. So that is it from me, guys. Please hit that like button if you could. That would be absolutely amazing. Comment below if you have any questions on the Feiyu-Tech G6 Plus, or if you have any questions on shooting content like what I did with this restaurant. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you already haven't, guys. I am really happy that there is roughly about 7,500 subs at the moment. We are gaining quite well, which I am very happy with. So make sure you hit that bell notification so you can be notified when my next videos come out. Guys, my name's Jason Morris, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, let's get it. Sorry, go again.